People often ask why victims of domestic violence don't just leave the relationship. So today I wanted to make a quick video on the cycle of domestic abuse. Domestic abuse is a pervasive and harrowing reality affecting millions worldwide. The cycle of abuse is a complex pattern that keeps victims trapped in abusive relationships even when leaving seems feasible. The cycle of domestic abuse typically comprises 3 different stages. The first stage is tension building. The second stage is the abusive incident, and the third stage is reconciliation or the honeymoon phase. During the tension building stage, minor conflicts happen and the emotional abuse gradually increases. And this causes the victim to feel very uneasy and increasingly anxious and fearful. The tension ultimately erupts into a huge abusive incident where physical, emotional, or verbal abuse occurs. Following the sometimes violent episode, the abuser often showers the victim in affection, gifts, praise, apologies, and promises. And this leaves the victim thinking that things might just change. That maybe it was a very specific incident that was triggered by different things and that he or she will probably change. And this deceptive behavior keeps the victim hesitant from leaving the relationship. Psychological factors are another reason why people might not leave a relationship. Psychological manipulation that the abuser uses on the victim also causes them hesitancy in leaving. Often over time, victims internalize the abuse and start to believe that they deserve it. It's also common for the perpetrator to make the victim feel like they could never live without the perpetrator, that nobody else in the world would want this one person except for the abuser. This causes low self-esteem, feelings of shame, isolation, inability to make decisions, which makes them think that leaving isn't an option. Additionally, sometimes perpetrators use something called gaslighting to make the victim think that they're crazy, which causes the victim to doubt their sense of reality and perception and experiences in the world. While gaslighting might seem like a new phenomenon, it's actually been around since before the 1940s. The term itself comes from a British play. In the play, a husband manipulates his wife by dimming and brightening the gas lights around their house. And when she tells him about seeing the lights changing, he keeps telling her that she's crazy and she's losing her mind, and he doesn't see anything. Economic dependence is also a huge factor, probably a major factor, as to why people don't leave abusive relationships. Oftentimes, the perpetrators have gained control over their victims' finances or made them completely financially dependent on them, which leaves them economically vulnerable and unable to envision a life of independence. And fear of retaliation or violence can also stop somebody from seeking help. These natural and perceived threats to the victim's safety and the safety of the people that they love can literally paralyze them and lead them to stay in the relationship even when it's dangerous. We don't see this so much in the United States, but there's also a lot of social and cultural factors that play into somebody leaving an abusive relationship. This is because societal norms put so much emphasis on a family unit, which can be a great thing, but can also pressure victims to stay in a relationship when they shouldn't. The biggest example that comes to mind when I'm talking about this is honor killings. So as you can see, it is a very complex situation and people can't just up and leave. So as you can see, this is a very complex situation, and leaving an abusive relationship requires a supportive network and access to resources so the person can transition safely into a life of independence. Just some of the resources out there are shelters where you can go and live. They often have a program that will help set you up for an independent life. Oftentimes, people will provide free or low-cost legal services and counseling. It's amazing what a person can do when you believe and support them. I'm making this video and I made this page to help raise awareness about this, hopefully create some sort of supportive network for people, and provide not only information, but also access to resources. If you or anybody that you know is experiencing domestic violence, please reach out to a shelter, a friend, a family member, somebody to let them know what's going on. You do not deserve this. There are good people in the world and they are just waiting for you to make the first move so that they can come help you. I love you guys. Stay safe out there, and I will see you in the next video.